Good evening and salutations, my Y&R fans. So, finally officially moved in, and I love this place. It is still taking me, still getting used to as far as like setting up my like equipment and stuff like that. So maybe a couple of changes here or there, but for the most part, yeah. So, I know I missed yesterday's episode, well, the day before's episode, and, I said this in a couple of my videos, but I'll say it in this one since I'm going to be, addressing the Y&R fans. I'm going to be doing, Y&R reviews weekly. So, it'll be like a weekly recap of everything that's happened. Well, the most important stuff that's happened. Because I was trying to do all four in one day, and that was, the thing is, if I didn't actually have a somewhat full-time job or whatever, somewhat full-time job, I felt like I was working full-time this week, but if I didn't have like a full-time job, and I can just dedicate my time here, then it'd be so much more easier. But I felt like I was practically trying to take on two full-time jobs, and it just was not working. There's a saying, jack of all trades, master of none, and I didn't want to get to a point where I felt like I was like, not burning out, but just like exhausted halfway through like doing some of these reviews, and plus they were coming out super late, so I feel like this is the best way to go for right now until, I can try to make this more of my full-time job. So, I'm not gonna lie, honestly tell you the truth, it's episodes like this, I'm like, maybe weekly is a lot better, because going into this episode, Victoria, I felt like in some ways this episode didn't really offer that much. Gonna be honest. I mean, Victoria seemed like she is just full steam ahead with being with this guy. Despite how many lies that he's told since the beginning, practically the dawn of time, this man has been lying to her. But I feel like, here's the thing, I feel like he's still lying. Okay, I feel like he didn't tell her everything. I mean, of course he didn't tell her everything, because, or if he did, then be all kind of boring or whatever. So I don't feel like he told her everything. But the stuff that he told her, she is fine with it. Hell, she's fine with it. She's fine with it up to that part. She's fine with it as far as, like, if the scandal comes out, it can mess up her business. Not just her. Not just her image, but her company. It could, pretty much kind of pull it into the mud. So all that, your company, your brother, whatever. I'm just gonna marry this guy anyway. This totally makes sense. So yeah, and Ashlyn, I guess talking from Nikki, had reservations. He was like, I don't know if this is the right move for you to be making, because, he was like, he didn't want to sit there and drag her down with everything that's going on. But she's pretty much like, she's in it for the long haul, so I feel like she's gonna wind up regretting those words when she finds out the truth behind everything, but I guess time will tell. Nate and Elena got there, to the villa or whatever. So they're there, and they're talking about what they're gonna do when they go back. Not having a lot of time to really do a lot of stuff, so they're going to be planning another trip to go back there, and, everyone's just kind of hanging out and having a good time a little bit. It seems as though Ashlyn was feeling a little ill. When he was walking, and Nate said something like, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "You know what, listen, I'm not going to let whatever this is stop me from, marrying this woman and stuff like that." So, it's one of those things where it's like, I want to go really hard on him, but because he's recovering from, we'll just sit there and say the C word, it's like, I'm just not going to go there. I mean, this dude's literally been lying to her since day one, and, I mean, dude is shady as hell. But he's also recovering from the C word, and he doesn't know how much time he has left, so it's like, alright, I'm gonna be using kid gloves with you, that's cool. Nikki and Victor were, I guess they were just disagreeing, because Nikki wanted this whole thing to be called off, all the lies and everything like that, like he's told, and she's like, you know what, listen, I'm not going to sit there and put my daughter through that. And Victor was like, no, she's fine, they're happier than ever, and this whole thing's going to work out. So you sort of had a disagreement. Not really a hard disagreement, to be honest. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of expect a little bit more on Nikki's pushback. I mean, yeah, she did sit there and say something to Ashlyn, and, at that point, it's up to him if he's gonna do anything and step up and kind of back away from, her daughter. But, honestly, to tell you the truth, it didn't really seem like they were going back and forth. It was just like, alright, well, we disagree and whatever, and then they saw him happy, and it was like, oh, well, I guess everything was all good, so, alright, fine. Adam comes to Billy's place looking for, Jesse Gaines. And, of course, Billy acts like, I've never heard of that name, what are you talking about? He plays coy, they go back and forth. The usual confrontation that they seem like they've been having since, I don't know, I guess they've known each other. But, Adam is sitting there trying to undermine him. Is just sitting there saying, listen, whatever you're going to do, just don't. You're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to make matters worse. If you care about my sister at all, just stop. But Billy seems like he's very determined, and he's practically just like, kick rocks, I'm going to do what I want, and that's just how it's going to be. Now, Adam did say something that I was like, bro, this is after he told you to leave, and you still stayed for some odd reason. When Adam was like, Ashlyn is good for, Victoria, and is also going to be, an even better role model for your kids. And I was like, listen, I'm not a parent. You want to sit there and go back and forth with him, that's fine. The minute you want to sit there and, start throwing somebody else's kids into the mix, yeah, you, no, just no. But he did tell him, it seemed like they were just going back and forth in circles. So eventually Adam did leave, and Jesse came downstairs, and, Billy's like, alright, we gotta go to Tuscany, and, Jesse was like, yeah, no. See, this isn't, like, part of the plan. You gotta, the thing is, you gotta tell me what's going on first, and then I decide if I kind of want to go through with whatever sort of shenanigans you got going on. So he's being a little kind of hesitant. But, Billy's like, listen, at the end of the day, you want the truth out. You want the truth out. You didn't like how your dad was treating Ashlyn over you. You never got the respect that you deserved. And just kind of really giving them more incentive to go along with this plan, which it does. And, Jesse's like, alright, I'm going to go. Now, apparently, Billy, I don't know if he's married, or he's going out with some woman named Lily, or someone now. And I haven't seen her in 2 weeks. So, like, what is going on with Billy's girlfriend? Because this is another cast member that I have not seen in, since the 2 weeks that started. So, yeah, and I've said this before. Mariah needs some counseling. She needs some counseling, some therapy, something. it seemed like after a while they were going around in circles. This is another one of those conversations where it doesn't really go anywhere. Mariah decides to stay. Tess asks why. I look at it, I'm like, I get that you have this bond with this child and everything like that, and you want to sit there and stay in case, Dominic is sick or something like that. But I'm like, you may be his bio mom, but you're not actually his mom, And honestly, tell you the truth, you just going over there hovering and being like, oh, what can I do to help? This, that, and the third. It's like, it looks like it makes them feel uncomfortable. It just looks like they're just uncomfortable every time, that she's around and stuff like that, and she's like hovering over that child. It's like, yeah, you need to stop. Like, and I'm honestly to tell you the truth, I'm surprised that Tess didn't sit there and say anything more about that. I mean, she was all like, oh, I want to be there, they like give the child breast milk and stuff like that, and this is after Abby was like, yeah, we're going to try to wean him off of that. We're going to kind of, get him on something else. Like, we're good. And, the sad thing is that Mariah was like, listen, I get it. It doesn't really make any sense. Abby is Dominic's mother for all intents and purposes. But, that's just how she feels. And so, Tess tries to bribe her. And I'm not going to lie, I was like, what is wrong with you two? Tess tries to bribe her because, Mariah was like, listen, since you shut down the whole baby conversation, like, I don't know what else to do. Therapy. That's what you can do. You can do therapy. You want child therapy? But Tess is like, listen, if you come with me, we have we'll have a good time in Tuscany for a little bit, and then we can sit there and talk about the whole baby thing. And Mariah's like, are you trying to bribe me? And she's like, and she was like, well, is it working? I'm like, what? let me get this straight. You try to bribe her to come down there with you to Tuscany in the hopes of using it there re-talking about the baby situation? I mean, granted, she didn't shut down the conversation. She was just like, I don't think this is a good time right now. Let's sit there and revisit this. Let's not rush this. She didn't just sit there and flat out say, no, I don't want to sit there and be a mother ever. She was just like, right now, we need to kind of just focus on us and what we want, and what we need. But, I feel like talking to Mariah is kind of like talking in circles, and after a while, it's just like, damn, girl, you're exhausting. You're exhausting. And that's literally the conversation and it got to a point where it's like Tess got upset and she said something, like you're just making up excuses, and then she took it back, and then Mariah was like, alright, I'm gonna sit there and just leave for a little bit, and Tess was like, no, let's keep talking, and I'm like, for what? Y'all didn't solve anything right now. At all. What did you solve? Honestly, to tell you the truth, I almost felt like this talk actually, I guess just like brought up more glaring problems between you two, if anything else. I mean, I'm all for talking and stuff like that, but if you're just gonna talk in circles, oh, there was one point that Mariah was like, "Oh, Tess, I think you should stay and just kind of back out because apparently she's supposed to be, a singer and she's gonna be singing at this wedding." And Mariah was like, "Oh, you could just back out, out the singing gig or whatever. You could sit there and just stay with me." And I'm like, okay, so you are officially living in just fantasy land. Okay, before all this stuff went down, what did she do as far as work goes? Does anyone know? I gotta sit there and try to look up, because I know she, Tess is a singer. What does she do? And of course, you got Victor and Adam sitting there plotting. Adam was a little frustrated because, he didn't really know a lot of the details about Ashlyn and everything like that. So when he was sitting there confronting Victor, and he was saying some stuff, Billy was like, he doesn't trust. He was like, well, you know what? Your dad doesn't trust you. And practically when he called you, you were so just giddy up to sit there and go that, you know, you're pretty much coming in a situation half cocked. So Victor was like, you know what, listen, I'm gonna sit there and tell you everything. And he tells him everything, or everything he knows at least, as far as this whole Ashland thing. So it seems like they're just plotting to sit there and try to stop him. Which, to be honest, I don't know exactly what they're gonna do to stop Billy from, I guess, trying to stop this wedding. Like, what are they gonna do? There was one point where Billy was like, well, unless you're gonna sit there and, like, tie me up and, like, you know, knock me out or something like that, I'm gonna sit there and go on my merry way. I'm like, maybe they should just tie him up or something. Like, I don't know. I'm curious to sit there and see what they're gonna do. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that's about it. I don't really feel like a lot of stuff actually happened in this episode. I mean, you know, when Ashton was in there talking to Victoria and he was in there saying these lines and stuff like that, they sound so cheesy. They sound like something that you would pick out of a romance book in, like, the 1990s or something like that. Like, the way he was in there talking was just like... I partly was like, bro, are you kidding me? But then I had to sit there and think, you know what? It's on Channel 2. I remember Ty Treadway a long time ago, the guy who played Colin MacGyver or MacGyver on One Life to Live. And granted, this was back when SoapNet was around. Was that, you know, he said something along the lines of, you know, like Y&R and stuff like that, caters to a more mature crowd, and they're very committed on keeping it that way. So when I heard, you know, him sitting there professing his love to her, and I was just like, bro, are you kidding me? Just like, just the cheesy dialogue, I was just like, you're killing me. But at the same time, because here's the thing, I didn't watch it yesterday. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really curious about, like, is Victoria gonna believe any more Ashland's lies? Is Victoria gonna sit there and practically kick anyone away that doesn't, you know, I don't know, go along with her plan? Like, I mean, Nicholas is just sitting there trying to help his sister, and that's how she took it. She took that as, oh, well, you're not invited to the wedding anymore. Really? You're not gonna allow your blood, your family to the wedding because he was sitting there trying to look out for you. What? So in a lot of ways, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, man, I wonder what's going on. So I had to sit there and watch it. And plus, I also said that I was gonna sit there and do a video on it, even though I know it came out Saturday. But yeah, moving forward is going to be weekly. And that's the same thing I'm going to probably do for Bold and the Beautiful. With that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. I know this came out Saturday, so I really appreciate anyone that's watching. And be safe. See you in the next video.